Y'all call me Bill Snatcher, just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a gauntlet and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. And today, I want to discuss a major elephant in the room that the Boruto manga has yet to address. And now that the manga has taken this 1-month hiatus that will be up on August 19th, I wanted to discuss with you guys the importance of the two missing Otsutsuki symbols that we saw earlier in the Boruto manga. Why all of us who thought that the markers being destroyed meant that these Otsutsuki were dead was wrong. Why the two missing Otsutsuki aren't as strong as we think they are, and why Amato is in possession of this knowledge but will not reveal it until the time is right. We're gonna lay out all the evidence for you into today's video. So as we all know, according to Amato, the Otsutsuki travel in pairs, and in the Ten Tails dimension, 4 of the markers belong to Otsutsuki pairs who we saw came to Earth, those being Momoshiki and Kinshiki and Kaguya and Isshiki. However, what about the other 2? Well, since we saw them in 2019, we as a community thought that if the markers were damaged, that must mean that the other Otsutsuki are dead, and for a time, I'm guilty of thinking this as well, but after rereading Boruto's manga, I now disagree with that line of thinking, and I'm going to explain to you why. If the markers being damaged means that these Otsutsuki are dead, then why is it that we see markers of Otsutsuki that are already dead being shown being completely unblemished? Kinshiki is dead, Kaguya is dead, and before somebody jumps down my throat saying, "No, she's sealed away," go watch my video on why Kaguya is dead, where I provide multiple source materials, including one directly written by the Naruto series creator Masashi Kishimoto. Back to the Otsutsuki, however, if their markers being destroyed meant that they were dead, we should have seen similar markings on the other Otsutsuki that we know are dead. This can only mean that we as a fandom have the wrong idea. The markers aren't damaged because they were destroyed, but instead it's because they haven't come to Earth just yet. Think about it for a second. Every other Otsutsuki marker that we saw all had one thing in common. They all came to Earth, and the status of the markers for the dead Otsutsuki never changed even after their death. Yet we have 2 Otsutsuki who there were no indications they ever came here to Earth, let alone that they were actually killed. In the world of Naruto, chakra is a very complicated subject, and even more so when we consider that the Otsutsuki are a clan who are the originators of chakra. Is it crazy to think that when the 2 missing Otsutsuki eventually do come to Earth, the markers that were damaged undergo a physical change to appear completely filled in upon the resonance of the chakra of the Otsutsuki who were coming to Earth? That doesn't seem crazy at all, because as we've seen in the past, we've seen what happens when chakra resonates on an extreme level. There are physical changes that are made to the people as well as the surrounding areas. However, before you go into a panic and say, wait, you mean there's 2 stronger Otsutsuki that are coming? God, Naruto and Sasuke just got nerfed, and now we potentially have 2 stronger Otsutsuki. I will say hit the brakes for a second, do not panic. Ever since Isshiki was defeated, people such as myself have been saying the same thing, which is that Burial Mode Naruto and Urashiki Otsutsuki are going to be our peaks in power in this Boruto era right now. Since then, Amato has made it a point to consistently refer to Jigen and Isshiki as being separate people, and the cyborgs that we've met, Ada, Damon, and Code without his limiters, are all stated to have combat powers that are above Jigen. Amato was very careful not to say Isshiki, despite what a lot of fans wrongfully say when they say Jigen and Isshiki are the same person, despite the manga literally telling us repeatedly that they're 2 separate people, that Isshiki literally physically existed inside of Jigen's body, and Naruto and Kashin Koji both confirmed that Isshiki was stronger than Jigen. We have to remember these facts as we look at this next bit of evidence right here. So I want you guys to look at the position of the markers. Isshiki's horn is shown clearly above all the other Otsutsuki that we see. Momoshiki's marker and the Otsutsuki marker to the right of Kaguya, they're both slightly above Kaguya's marker. You can argue Momoshiki's is pretty much in line with Kaguya's, but that one to the right is slightly above her, where the other 2 markers are further below Kaguya's markers. The one on the left was Kinshiki's marker, and the one on the right was the second missing Otsutsuki, whose marker is slightly higher than Kinshiki's was, but still below Kaguya's. So what does this mean exactly? Well, one horn is slightly above Kaguya, and the other horn is just below Kaguya and slightly above Kinshiki's horn. All those other horns that we see are directly below Isshiki Otsutsuki, clearly showing that Isshiki's superior rank over all the Otsutsuki must be taken in consideration, and we know that Ishiki was strong enough that Kaguya had to pull a black Zetsu, just how Zetsu betrayed Jubi Madara off guard. Kaguya had to do the same thing. Based off the positioning of the markers, one of these Otsutsuki will be slightly stronger than Kaguya and Momoshiki, and the other one will be weaker than Kaguya but slightly stronger than Kinshiki, which is a reminder, in the Naruto manga there is no pre-chakra fruit Kaguya design. That's Naruto Shippuden filler only. In Boruto, Kaguya, when she comes to Earth, already had horns, and Kaguya, who came out the marker, also had horns as well, so it's safe to say that's the Kaguya they were referring to. So this makes a lot of sense right here, and I'm going to explain to you why. In the anime, as well as in Boruto novel number 5, Momoshiki referred to Kaguya as not reporting back to the clan about the status of the seed planet that she was overseeing. Urashiki stated that there was a main branch that was keeping watch over the sector, and they gave him the permission to trap Toneri in the Dragon King Palace as punishment. So we do know that there are more Otsutsuki out there. Whether the two missing Otsutsuki are part of the main branch, which would imply that Momoshiki, Kinshiki, Isshiki, and Kaguya are all part of that main branch as well, we don't know that yet, but the fact that these two Otsutsuki can be implied to be weaker than Ishiki continues the pattern of what we've seen since Baryon Mode Naruto versus Ishiki. Stronger than Jigen, but weaker than Ishiki. Kawaki right now is beginning to master Ishiki's power, but he's been referred to multiple times as being a miniature Ishiki. As we've seen with Jigen in the past, even when karma hits 100% extraction, you're not using 100% of the power of the Otsutsuki, but you are using quite a bit of it. But the gap in power is large enough that both Naruto and Kashin Koji noted that there is a difference upon being hit by Ishiki. Ishiki is significantly stronger than Jigen was. Right now, Kawaki is in possession of the karma seal of what appears to be, based off the positioning of the patterns that we see from the Boruto manga, to be the strongest of the Otsutsuki. Even if we go with the belief that the percentage of the extraction equals the percentage of power that he can draw out, 80% of Ishiki's power, based off the positioning of the marking, still has him above all those other Otsutsuki. With Boruto, his karma stopped extracting at 82% of Momoshiki. While Momoshiki did convert his remaining data into Otsutsuki genetics, that was done purely to repair Boruto's damaged heart, not to extract the remaining 18% of Momoshiki's data into Boruto, because otherwise he would have been revived once Boruto hit 100%, but that was not the case here. 82% of Momoshiki would put Boruto just below Kaguya's pattern, and that's before we start stacking on however strong Boruto's base form gets as time goes on, which in turn will make his Otsutsuki transformation that much stronger due to the addition of power that's going to come with Boruto's base, then stacking on that Otsutsuki power on top of it. Two threats coming where one is slightly stronger than Kaguya and the other is slightly stronger than Kinshiki, that is manageable. It's important to remember that the 4 Boruto era Kage could gang up on and bring Kinshiki near death when fighting alongside Sasuke, who wasn't at full power due to opening up the portal and taking several people with them, which is a reminder, the amount of chakra needed to open up an Otsutsuki portal's already been established. You need over 1/3 of the chakra of a 6-pass chakra mode Naruto just to open up the portal. Those are threats that can be manageable in terms of being fought out, but are just powerful enough to be a long-term threat beyond code, because as we've seen before, when Otsutsuki fuse, their power level shoots up a great deal. Someone slightly stronger than Kaguya fusing with someone slightly weaker than Kinshiki is going to be a big threat to be considered a problem, especially now that Naruto no longer has Kurama and Sasuke no longer has the Rinnegan, and Boruto and Kawaki still have power that they haven't tapped into. That much is made clear by Amado's statement that both of them need to train before they could ever hope to defeat Code, and that brings us to Amado. So here's the thing, if 2 more Otsutsuki exist out there, why didn't Amado say anything? Well, there are a few things to keep in mind here. Number 1, Amado has never been someone to reveal everything up front. He withholds information until he absolutely has to disclose it, and when he does hold on to information, it usually is only to benefit himself. It's why Ada warned him not to betray her, because she called him out on making his own messes, cleaning them up and taking credit for them, and using that as a way to gain favor with people who he helped out. is why the Kages and Shikamaru warned Naruto not to trust Amato. As of the last manga chapter, Amato said that he was going to take Ada and Damon with him to Konoha, but that he needed to explain the reasons for his actions only when he was inside of Konoha. Why would he go out of his way to kill Isshiki and place a karma back on a Kawaki so the karma could be weaponized? Why did Masashi Kishimoto introduce someone like Ada, whose enchantment powers work on everyone except for Otsutsuki, which would also include Boruto and Kawaki, only to have her potentially ally herself with Konoha? I believe it's because of the missing Otsutsuki. If, and I'll concede this is a big if Amato is returning to Konoha to bring up the missing Otsutsuki, it makes sense and it would explain why he needs to be inside of Konoha. Sasuke can vouch for him. Sasuke went to that dimension. He saw the same damage markers that we did, but before he could investigate them any further, Sasuke saw that Jigen had shown up and he had to hide in order to not blow his cover. Sasuke is the one person who can verify the two markers that Amato speaks of are true because he's seen them already. Think about it for a second. Code wants to harvest a chakra fruit, but Konoha now has Ada and Damon, two people stronger than him, and he's fresh from getting a stone cold stunner dropped on him by Damon. If Ada and Damon ally themselves with Konoha, if only for the reason for Ada to get closer to Kawaki, Code poses no real threat right here. However, revealing that there's a threat of two Otsutsuki coming to Earth, that would give us the red meat needed in order to get a sense of urgency for the time skip, especially considering that Code is an Otsutsuki worshiper who would have no qualms about serving those Otsutsuki and handing over the chakra fruit to them. The chakra fruit of Earth being given to either of these Otsutsukis would for damn sure lead to a power increase that could push them to Isshiki's level or potentially higher, especially if these Otsutsuki fuse and then eat the chakra fruit. But that's an end game type of a situation. That's end goal for the end of the Boruto manga. That would be your catalyst to have the new generation, in particular Boruto and Kawaki, train, because there is a threat coming. What good are Ada's powers if she can't use them to disarm an Otsutsuki? What good is Damon's reflection if the Otsutsuki can keep him from touching anyone in the area to reflect their attacks? If Damon ends up having a second weakness that's similar to Ada, where Otsutsuki are also exempt from it, this makes that threat even larger. Would any of us be shocked to learn that Amato took all these steps because two missing Otsutsuki are coming? I don't think so, but that also brings up the question, why did Amato keep this information to himself? And the only thing I can tell you is to look at past behavior. Amato operates on a need-to-know basis and on eliminating the threat that exists currently. It's why before he went after Jigen, he and Kashin Koji significantly weakened the Kara Inners by taking them out the picture and got Kawaki away from Jigen in the process. It's why we never learned that Code had a karma until after Ishiki was killed, because Code became the problem that needed to be dealt with and Amato needed to bring him up at that time. Now Code has been neutered by Damon. Konoha is getting access to people strong enough to kill Code. These two missing Otsutsuki, this is your perfect time to bring them up. That being said, I'm very curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. Let me know down in the comment section below.